Tail Gunner here, and I'm actually showing the sign and not my face, but we are here on the Dosewallips River Trail. A sign I normally use to introduce these has obviously fallen down. Our destination for this week, first week in July 2022 here, is to go up the West Fork up to Honeymoon Meadows. Spin around and get the mileage sign in here. So we're at Elkhorn now, middle of the afternoon of the 1st. Get up to the campground for tonight, go up the Diamond Meadows tomorrow. So that first 12 miles has been filmed in other videos, so I'm not going to film a whole lot, if at all, today and tomorrow. So I'll start filming in Diamond Meadows, where in 2020 I turned around and came back. So most of this will be beyond Diamond Meadows up to Honeymoon Meadows, unless something exciting happens. Exciting could be that reports that there is a bear that's become habituated to humans that's been hanging around those forks. So we're hoping that this first week in July crowds will have encouraged him to go deeper into the woods. Trail report from a week ago indicated Honeymoon Meadows was still full snow. We've had numerous 90-degree days here in the lowlands, so I'm counting on some of that snow melting and gaining at least patchy snow, if not completely clear, by the time I get there on the night of the 3rd. For now, I'm going to take a quick break here and then head on up to the campground. See you at the campground, maybe. Bears have been seen at close range to this area over obtained improperly stored food. Bears continue to acquire human food. This area may be closed. Keep a clean camp. Report all encounters to the ranger station. We are at Dosewallips Campground. I am packing bear spray. I've also said that since my trekking poles are set at 110 centimeters, as long as the bear stays 111 centimeters away from me, we're good. Also, if all that fails, I'm also packing the lyrics to Bear Necessities from Jungle Book. And since my sister has received 100% of all the music talent in the family, if I start singing, any beast will run as quickly as possible. How low can you go? I've been struggling with this and trying to decide. You go uphill, brush through and erode the hill. You climb under with the pack on. I just tried it. That was a dismal failure. So, and there's another one right past it. And this is not the only blowdown. We've been dealing with blowdowns constantly today. Every quarter of a mile we got a blowdown. So we are actually in the process of taking the pack off. Our next challenge were the 2 trees on a steep hillside, 45 degrees to the trail, with V-notches cut in them. I didn't want to do that with the pack on, so I took the pack off, put the pack above the V-notches, hopped over, turned around, and took my hand off the pack, only to watch my pack tumble down into the stream. I am now to retrieve the soaking wet pack from the stream. Do not adjust your speakers or audio settings. The rest of this clip is a silent clip due to technical difficulties and user error. Texas likes to think it does things big, and the Plain Indians did have teepees. But this is how the Olympics does teepees. Rolling into Big Timber Camp here. I've decided to spend the night here, even though I had planned to go up to Diamond Meadows tonight. The reason being that we've got several hours of daylight left, and more importantly, we have several hours of sun left. Since my pack went in the stream back there, I want to get everything out of the pack and see what needs to be dried out. My sling bag and a set of clothing is in a dry bag, so I should be okay. This lower area, I've seen that twice before, and I like it, even though there's a few online reviews that says not great. It seems to have everything you need, easy access to water, bare wire over here. It's got 2 fire pits, and it's got numerous logs for sitting on. There are 1 or 2 widowmakers, but they don't seem to be that dangerous or threatening. But as I said in my 2020 video, the best site here is at the back of this camp area, and since I'm the only one here at the moment, we are going to proceed through the back and set up back there. This voiceover was actually done after the fact, and a little bit later another group of 5 came in and set up down in this lower area, and I peeked over and told them I wasn't a bear in the back. But coming all the way through, you come up this slight rise, and it's got this nice big area that I was able to spread everything out on, and by sunset, everything was dried out. It wasn't that wet to start with, and so this is where I spent the night of the 2nd. Well, the privy at Big Timber Camp is still intact and quite usable and functional. Missed it by that much. Alright, so looking at the tree domino theory here, I think what I worked out is that one, which actually has been cut off by our trail crew so that one can still get access to the privy, that one initiated the whole thing, and the way down it hit that one because its stump tree well is well before the big one. When that one went down, the second one, it hit this third one, because I can see a big scrape on the far side there, and it knocked it 30 degrees. The big one coming down has really pushed this one tree out of alignment here, and it's hard up against it. I think that's an old one there, that stump, that broken off one. But this one, this thing over here, at a 45-degree angle, looks fresh. So it looks like it may have been hit by the second one coming down. I don't know whether that's part of it right there or not. We've got at least 3, if not, actually, this looks like it. Yep, that's it, right there, okay. And that root ball there actually took out part of the trail. The trail is on the far side of that root ball, and the trail is a little bit thinner than it was before, because part of the trail came up with that root ball. I don't think this got hit by anything coming down the hill. Nothing coming down the hill looks fresh. Everything on the hill looks like it's got saw marks on it already. So I think this one right there with the big root ball initiated this whole mess. And there's that tree heading off at 90-degree angle, which I don't know whether it's involved or not. Yeah, there's dominoes and then there's dominoes. And I won't make any comments about someone who might have been in the privy when that went down. Do not adjust your speakers or audio settings. The rest of this clip is a silent clip due to technical difficulties and user error. Well, there is something you don't see every day. That tree is impaled and goes all the way through that other tree. I have no idea how that happened. And the rest of that impaled tree is broken off and is laying on the ground there. I don't know if it fell on that tree when it was much younger or what. Here's the view from the other side. We are now at the point the trail crosses the West Fork of the Dosewallips River. Our first check is to go down to the ford place, and it is flowing faster, deeper, and stronger than I want to cross. I don't spend a whole lot of time here. It doesn't capture in the video, but I took one look at that and realized I wasn't fording across there. I didn't even see where I was supposed to go across to. So today is of this video is July 3rd. It's about noon. I've come up from Big Timber, gone less than a mile past Diamond Meadows, and there's the ford and 2 footlog options. At this point, I've already been told by other hikers that none of the options are good, especially for those who lack confidence and balance or don't have the agility of youth. But we are up here checking them out and evaluating the risk and reward possibility. So coming up here toward the first foot log, just another minute. On the right here, you can see where trail crew cut a plank out of this log right there on the right. The plank has been cut out. And then we're coming up to the first foot log. I'm staring at it even though you can't see it in the video. There's the plank from that one log down to that other root stump there. And what you're looking at is not the foot log. You're looking at right now a snag that is on top of the foot log. So this old snag has fallen and landed on top of the foot log and then angles off a bit. So the trick here for the young, agile, bold, and brave is to get down there, get on top of the old snag, walk across the old snag to that upright, give that upright a good hug as you come past it, and then as the snag and the foot log that's underneath it diverge, you have a roughly 18 to 24 inch step down onto the actual foot log that has the flat and grooved walking surface. And then you continue on across. That's assuming that you haven't fallen into the river at that point. So looking at it from the downriver side, you can see the old snag on top and the footlog on the bottom. Once you come past that upright, you don't even see that other diagonal log that you have to step over. If you stay on top of the old snag, you have a number of branches that you have to deal with, but they don't offer reliable handholds because they'll snap. It's no dead snag; they're going to snap off on you. If you try to get across on the all the way across, you have a bigger drop down to the rock shore. But then the other option is stepping down onto the footlog without any real handhold. After contemplating that for the better part of a half hour, I decided that was not what I was going to do. Even though there's other people around here, I'm alone at this point and decided not to cross. So again, back to looking at it from the approach. They said you don't even see that diagonal log that you have to step over here, and yeah, so as I said, I just sort of spent the better part of a half hour, which fortunately this video is not a half hour segment, is not a half hour long. You don't have to worry about that. That is it. And while I was here, there were 3 people who did manage to cross it. None of them fell in the river. None of them died, so it was possible. They all were younger than me. They all had apparently more self-confidence than me and were more agile than me. So it was possible. I witnessed several people doing it. I just decided that it was not on my bucket list for this week. So Honeymoon Meadows is 4 miles past this point. I considered actually dropping my pack at Diamond Meadows and doing a day hike up and back, but that would have taken an extra day, and I actually didn't want to. I wanted a day of not hiking, so I didn't want to give up a day of rest to do a day hike, and even crossing without a full pack would have been a challenge for me, I believe. So again, step 1, get down to the old snag. Step 2, walk across the old snag to the upright. Step 3, hug the old snag, step over the diagonal log you can't see. Step 4, decide whether you're going to then transition to the original footlog or continue over the branches on the rounded dead snag and make it to the other shore. But wait, I said there's a second footlog, so it can't possibly be any worse than the first footlog. And at this point in the video, you can see I've actually ditched my pack while I'm running back and forth and evaluating things. But so let's go down here and take a look at this second footlog and what it offers. And what you notice is that it is lower to the river, and it has accumulated a bunch of debris that's washed down during the high water. There's 1 log diagonal on it. There's a root ball with a tree beyond that. There's a 3rd log beyond that. And then there's a section of the bridge that I cannot see at this from this angle. You can't really, so your only option would be to go across, not being able to see what the final quarter of the bridge is like and whether there's anything on it or not. But you're climbing over all that stuff. You can't really see what's around the bend in this river if you go into the river, but the river is flowing fast and hard. So that wasn't any better, in my opinion. This is actually one of 2 bare wires and campsites. There's another one another campsite down about 200 yards down the trail. It's actually probably better. I actually dropped all my stuff here before exploring, and I haven't decided quite where I'm going to go. There's also a few isolated sites on top of that hill there. There's also one isolated site right down by the river. Again, this is Diamond Meadows campground on the West Fork of the Dosewallips River. Across the way, I believe that is Diamond Meadow. A little smaller and unimpressive from what I thought it was going to be, but I believe that is Diamond Meadow. Maybe Diamond Marsh. I tried going through there. There's a stream going through there. The middle section of that is really not suitable for walking. So once more around, meadow, hill that you can camp on, bare wire with the appropriate food hanging from it if you can make it out in the photo. The main site here, there's another site back there in the corner. Back to current year video here, rolling into the second Diamond Meadows site, 500 feet down from the first video, which I shot back in 2020. I've returned from the river, deciding not to cross on the sketchy logs, and I've decided to set up in, there's other groups on the first side. I decided to set up back here. In addition to making these YouTube videos for y'all, I actually come out here to spend some time meditating and stuff, and so this is where I spent the next 24 hours in this area. We have a bare wire off to the left. There's a little stream off to the left. I set up a tent to the right. Got the fire pit right in front of me, and then we had a dining area beyond the fire pit. The river is just to the right of this area, and I thought I would be able to get to it. However, the brush between here and the river is quite thick, and there are really no access trails to the river. Sure hope there are no bears around the corner. Do not adjust your speakers or audio settings. The rest of this clip is a silent clip due to technical difficulties and user error. I've crossed this bridge here over the West Fork of the Dosewallips River about a dozen times, and this is the first time that I've realized that looking east, you're looking right at those forks where the North Fork and the West Fork flow together to form the main Dosewallips River. Early afternoon of July 5th here, we have made it back to the trail junction of Doe Sports where the North Fork and West Fork trails go up to Hayden Pass and Anderson Pass respectively. This trip we only got about 2/3 of a mile further than we did in our 2020 trip, but I still consider it a success because I got to be out here for 5.5 days. 1st of July is normally considered a start date for getting over Anderson Pass. This year, the Rangers have been strongly encouraging against it and telling groups to pick one side or the other. Did run into several groups who thought they were going to go over the pass. None of them made it. The group that I camped with at Big Timber, they hiked up to Honeymoon Meadows and reported snow beyond that. And they returned back. That was all they were planning to do. Another gentleman who was planning to go up to Honeymoon Meadows left his pack at Diamond Meadows. They hiked up and back. Did talk to several people who did make it up to an overnight at Honeymoon Meadows. They reported that when they tried to go up further, they encountered heavy snow, strong stream runoffs that were a little challenging, and some sketchy ice bridges that really prevented them from actually getting to Anderson Pass. And then, of course, 3 of us looked at the bridges and decided to call our trip at that point, and we just hung out there at Diamond Meadows for the day. In a future year, I may come in later in the season, and when fording the river will be more feasible, and I don't have to worry about the condition of the bridges. This year, just with the heavy runoff and the damaged bridges, it didn't work out. However, I still got to spend over 5 days here in the Olympic National Park and get a little relaxation and escape from staring at computer screens all day. So we are headed out to Dosewallips campground tonight, and then out tomorrow morning, and then contemplating our next trip. That's where I was in May. First week of July, parking out here is quite popular, so while I get back down to where I had to park, I give a shout out to 2 other YouTube content creators who are in the same area that I was this past week. Those being Hiking with Bending Willow and HiWalkerPhoto. I'll put their content down in my description so you can check those channels out. Also for this channel, there will be more overnight trips here in the Olympics later this summer. I'm not quite sure when or where. My son and I had planned to do the Cleats in August, but he has since grabbed himself a camp counselorship position, so I don't think that trip is happening. Meanwhile, I have learned some information about the Enchanted Valley Chalet on the Quinault, which I'm trying to confirm. I may make a trip up there in September, or I may come up with a completely different trip somewhere. On July 1st, this was all filled in, and I'm sure by July 2nd and 3rd, it was even much further out than where I am, parking on that Friday, but I'm down here about 200 feet. I actually piled a large limb on the side of my vehicle so someone would have to move if they were trying to get the catalytic converter from the right side. But from this distance, I don't see any broken glass. I don't see any issues. No tree fell on the car, that's also good. So looks like we're good to go. I do have to take the pack off, find where I hid my driver's license or wallet and key to the car. Fortunately, I've got the keypad. Oops. There we are.